Here are Grandpa's gardening hacks. 31 crops to grow in November, no matter where you live. Garlic. Did you know that November is the perfect time to plant garlic? According to Grandpa, garlic thrives when planted in cooler months because the bulbs need a period of cold weather to develop properly. The cold encourages the garlic to establish strong roots before winter, making it ready for spring growth. To plant, separate the cloves from the bulb, leaving their skins on. Plant cloves about 2 inches deep with the pointed end up and space them 6 inches apart in well-drained soil. Water thoroughly, then mulch with straw to protect them from frost. Leeks. Leeks are ideal for planting in November because they thrive in cool weather, and their hardy nature allows them to survive frost. The cooler temperatures encourage the plants to grow slowly, which enhances their flavor. To plant leeks, start by digging a trench about 6 inches deep in well-drained soil. Space the seedlings 6 to 8 inches apart in the trench and cover their roots with soil, leaving the tops exposed. Water thoroughly, and as the plants grow, gradually fill in the trench with more soil to blanch the stalks for tender, white stems. Green onions. Did you know that green onions grow fast in cooler weather? They can tolerate light frost, making them ideal for planting during winter. Select a sunny spot and plant seeds or small sets in well-drained soil. Sow seeds about 1/4 inch deep, spaced an inch apart, or plant sets 2 inches apart. Keep the soil evenly moist, but avoid waterlogging. Horseradish. Horseradish thrives in cooler temperatures, and winter is a prime time to get it in the ground. The cold helps horseradish roots grow strong and flavorful. To plant, choose a sunny or lightly shaded spot with loose, well-drained soil. Plant root cuttings at a 45-degree angle, about 2 to 3 inches deep, ensuring the thick end is buried. Space the cuttings 12 to 18 inches apart. Water deeply and mulch to retain moisture. Horseradish's hardy nature makes it an excellent crop for cold weather gardening. Carrots. Carrots are one of Grandpa's favorite crops to plant. They are best planted when the weather cools, as colder temperatures improve their sweetness. Start by loosening the soil to at least 12 inches deep to prevent root deformities. Sow carrot seeds directly in the ground, about 1/4 inch deep and spaced 1 inch apart. Make sure the soil is free of rocks and well drained for straight, healthy growth. Water regularly to keep the soil moist, and once the seedlings are a few inches tall, thin them to about 2 inches apart for optimal growth. Spinach. Spinach loves cool weather, and this season is perfect for planting it. Spinach can tolerate frost and even light snow, making it a hardy crop for your garden. To plant, choose a sunny spot with well-drained soil and sow seeds about 1/2 inch deep and 3 inches apart. Keep the soil moist, but not waterlogged. Thin seedlings to about 6 inches apart once they're few inches tall. Spinach grows quickly and can be harvested as baby leaves or mature plants throughout the cooler months. Endive. Endive is a great cold weather crop, thriving in the cooler months when many other greens struggle. Choose a location with full sun and loose, well-drained soil. Sow seeds about 1/4 inch deep, spaced 6 inches apart, and cover lightly with soil. Water consistently to keep the soil moist, but avoid overwatering. As the endive grows, you can blanch the leaves by tying them together to reduce bitterness. This hardy plant adds a crisp texture to winter salads and does well in colder conditions. Cilantro. Cilantro flourishes in cool weather and quickly bolts in heat, making this the best time to plant it. Sow the seeds directly into well-drained soil in a sunny location, about 1/2 inch deep and spaced 2 inches apart. Water regularly to keep the soil moist. Cilantro grows fast, so you can begin harvesting the leaves within a few weeks. To extend the harvest, consider planting in intervals. It's an ideal herb to grow in winter when it performs best, producing flavorful leaves and seeds. Broad beans, or fava beans. Broad beans, also known as fava beans, thrive in cooler temperatures. To plant, choose a sunny spot with well-drained soil. Sow seeds about 2 inches deep and 6 inches apart, leaving 12 inches between rows. Water well and mulch to protect the plants from frost. Fava beans are hardy and can withstand colder temperatures, making them an excellent addition to a winter garden. Their long growing season will reward you with a spring harvest. Swiss chard. Swiss chard is a resilient crop that grows well in cold conditions. To grow it, plant seeds 1/2 inch deep and space them about 6 inches apart in well-drained soil. Chard tolerates light frosts and can be grown in both sunny and partially shaded locations. Keep the soil consistently moist, and once the leaves reach around 6 inches, you can begin harvesting. Swiss chard is a nutrient-packed green that offers multiple harvests through the colder months. Pansies. Pansies are among the few flowers that thrive in cooler temperatures, Grandpa said. They're frost-tolerant and can even bloom through light snow. To plant, choose a sunny or partially shaded area with well-drained soil. Space the plants about 6 to 8 inches apart, planting them at the same depth as they were in their original pots. Water regularly, but avoid waterlogging. Radishes. Radishes grow fast in cooler weather, maturing in as little as 3 to 4 weeks. To plant, sow seeds directly into well-drained soil, spacing them about 1/2 inch deep and 1 inch apart. Ensure the soil stays moist but not too wet. Radishes prefer full sun but can tolerate partial shade. Thin seedlings to give each plant space to develop. Harvest the radishes as soon as they're ready to maintain their crisp texture and mild flavor. Microgreens. Microgreens are perfect for winter gardening, especially indoors or in small spaces. To grow microgreens, spread a thin layer of seed-starting soil in a shallow container, then sprinkle the seeds evenly over the surface. Lightly cover the seeds with soil and mist them with water. Place the container in a sunny spot or undergrow lights. Harvest the greens when they're 2 to 3 inches tall, usually within 2 weeks. Mache. Mache, also known as corn salad, is a cold-hardy green that thrives in cooler temperatures. It's perfect for growing in winter because it can tolerate frost and even snow. To plant, scatter the seeds directly in well-drained soil, spacing them about 1/4 inch deep and 2 inches apart. Mache prefers full sun or partial shade and doesn't need much water. You can harvest Mache when the leaves are around 3 inches long. Salsify. Salsify is often called the oyster plant due to its slight oyster-like flavor. Plant the seeds in loose, well-drained soil about 1 inch deep and 6 inches apart with 12 inches between rows. Salsify requires consistent moisture, so water regularly but don't overwater. This root vegetable stores well and adds a unique flavor to winter dishes. Kale. Did you know that kale actually thrives in freezing temperatures? In fact, cold weather helps kale develop a sweeter flavor. To plant kale, start by sowing seeds about 1/2 inch deep in well-drained soil. Space plants 12 to 18 inches apart for good airflow. Kale requires regular watering but prefers moist, not soggy soil. As the outer leaves mature, harvest them while leaving the center intact for continued growth. Kale's frost tolerance makes it a perfect choice for winter gardens. Parsnips. Parsnips are unique in that frost actually improves their flavor, enhancing their natural sweetness. When planting parsnips, Grandpa advised loosening the soil to a depth of 12 inches to allow the long roots to grow freely. Sow seeds 1/2 inch deep and about 6 inches apart. Water regularly to keep the soil evenly moist, especially during the early growth stage. Be patient as parsnips are slow to germinate, taking 2 to 3 weeks to sprout. They're a rewarding crop for cold weather harvests. Violas. Are you looking for hardy flowers during winter? Violas are a great pick. These resilient blooms can survive frost and add color to your garden. To plant, dig holes about 4 inches deep in well-drained soil. Space them 6 inches apart for adequate growth. Water thoroughly after planting and mulch around the roots to protect them from the cold. Violas do well in containers or garden beds, making them a versatile option for winter decoration. Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are a classic winter vegetable that thrives in cold weather and develops better flavor after frost. For planting, select a sunny spot with fertile, well-drained soil. Set transplants 18 to 24 inches apart, making sure to bury the stems up to the first leaves. Water thoroughly and apply mulch to regulate soil moisture. Brussels sprouts need regular watering, but avoid oversaturating the soil. Harvest when the tiny cabbage-like heads are firm and have reached about 1 to 2 inches in diameter. Peas. Peas love cool weather, and their frost tolerance makes them an ideal winter crop by Grandpa. To start, prepare a sunny garden bed and plant seeds about 1 inch deep and 2 inches apart. Provide a trellis or stakes for support as the plants grow. Keep the soil consistently moist, especially during germination. Peas grow quickly and can be harvested in just 2 to 3 months. For best results, pick the pods when they are plump but before the peas inside become too mature. Turnips. Turnips are an excellent root vegetable to grow in cooler weather as they thrive in frost and cold soil conditions. To plant turnips, sow seeds directly into loose, well-drained soil at a depth of about ½ inch. Space seeds 2 to 3 inches apart and thin seedlings to 4 inches once they emerge. Turnips need consistent moisture, so water them regularly to keep the soil evenly moist. They're a fast-growing crop, maturing in just 40 to 60 days. Winter lettuce. Winter lettuce varieties are hardy and can tolerate cold temperatures, making them perfect for growing when other greens might struggle. Start by planting seeds in well-drained soil, 1/4 inch deep, and space them about 6 inches apart. Water consistently to keep the soil moist but not soggy. Lettuce prefers a sunny spot but can tolerate partial shade. If temperatures drop too low, consider covering with a light row cover. Winter lettuce can provide fresh, crisp greens even in the heart of winter. Parsley. Indoor herbs like parsley are perfect for winter growing since they thrive in cooler conditions and can be grown indoors. Use small pots with drainage and fill them with well-draining potting soil. Plant seeds about 1/2 inch deep and water lightly. Place the pot near a sunny windowsill or under grow lights to ensure they get plenty of light. Keep the soil moist but not waterlogged. Parsley can be harvested as needed, providing fresh herbs throughout winter. Beets. Beets are a cool weather crop that thrives in the fall and winter, providing both nutritious roots and tasty greens. To plant beets, choose a sunny spot with loose, well-drained soil. Sow seeds about 1 inch deep and 3 to 4 inches apart. Water regularly to keep the soil evenly moist but not soggy. Beets can tolerate light frosts, which actually improve their sweetness. Harvest the roots when they reach about 2 inches in diameter or pick the greens for salads and sautés earlier. Chervil. Chervil, a delicate herb similar to parsley, loves cooler temperatures and grows well during the winter months. It prefers partial shade and well-drained soil. Sow seeds about 1/4 inch deep and space them 6 inches apart. Keep the soil moist, but avoid overwatering. Chervil is a great herb to grow indoors in pots or directly in the garden, as long as it's sheltered from harsh frosts. Lettuce. Lettuce is one of the easiest crops to grow in winter months. To plant, sow seeds about 1/4 inch deep in well-drained soil, spacing them 6 to 8 inches apart for head varieties. Water consistently, keeping the soil moist but not soggy. Lettuce prefers full sun but can also grow in partial shade. For protection against frost, Consider using row covers. You'll enjoy fresh lettuce leaves in as little as 4 weeks. Perpetual spinach. Perpetual spinach isn't actually spinach. It's a type of chard that looks and tastes like it, but with a longer growing season. It thrives in cooler weather and can survive through winter. Plant seeds about 1/2 inch deep, spacing them 6 inches apart in well-drained soil. Perpetual spinach loves full sun, but tolerates partial shade. Water regularly to maintain moist soil. Harvest outer leaves when they're young and tender, and the plant will keep producing fresh greens throughout the season. Rutabagas. Rutabagas are a cross between cabbage and turnips, and they're incredibly hardy in cold weather. They do best in deep, well-drained soil and require full sun. Plant seeds 1/2 inch deep and space them 6 inches apart, thinning the seedlings once they emerge. Water consistently, ensuring the soil stays evenly moist. Rutabagas grow slowly and can take around 90 days to mature, but they taste sweeter after being exposed to frost. Both the roots and the greens are edible, adding versatility to your garden. Cauliflower. Cauliflower is a cool weather crop that thrives in temperatures between 50 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. To plant, choose a sunny spot with well-drained soil and sow seeds about 1/2 inch deep. Space seedlings 18 to 24 inches apart to give them room to grow. Water regularly to keep the soil evenly moist, and consider mulching to retain moisture and regulate temperature. Cauliflower heads should be ready for harvest in about 70 to 100 days. Protect the heads from direct sunlight by tying the leaves over them. Mustard greens. Mustard greens are fast-growing and love cooler temperatures, making them ideal for fall and winter planting. Start by planting seeds 1/4 inch deep in loose, fertile soil. Space them about 6 inches apart for proper airflow. Mustard greens prefer full sun but can tolerate partial shade. Water consistently to keep the soil moist but not waterlogged. Harvest leaves when they're young and tender for the best flavor. Claytonia, or miner's lettuce. Claytonia, also known as miner's lettuce, thrives in cool, shady conditions and can even grow through winter. It's perfect for shady corners of the garden. Sow seeds about 1/4 inch deep, spacing them 3 to 4 inches apart. Claytonia prefers consistently moist soil, so water regularly to keep the soil from drying out. The small, delicate leaves can be harvested when they are young for a mild, slightly tangy flavor. Claytonia is a great addition to winter salads, adding both nutrition and variety to your meals. For more contents like this, click here to subscribe.